and welcome to your LSU Football Fix. I'm Preston Guy, staff writer at TigerBait.com, joining you as always every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on the TigerBait YouTube channel. Crain joins us in a bit. Today's show is made possible by Tramonte's Meat and Seafood, located at the corner of Jefferson and Airline. Remember, good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Go check them out. They are your 2022 tailgating and homegating headquarters. So LSU had a very dominant performance against New Mexico. One that has got me convinced that this coaching staff is equipped to make the adjustments needed to find a need, address it, and get it fixed. Jack Besh looks like a stud at punt returner. That Matt House defense just keeps on getting better and better. You love what you're seeing. You do. Since that Florida State loss, by the way, Florida State is now ranked. So now your only loss in the country is to a ranked team. And of course you're going to Auburn, where I expect a good win. I expect LSU should win by a comfortable margin. I talked to Nathan Baird, who, of course, covers Ohio State for Cleveland.com. He had LSU higher than anybody else in the country in terms of like his AP ballot. He's an AP voter, of course, right? And I was curious because I don't necessarily disagree with even rank. If I had to rank LSU, I would put them 25, 24, something like that. I think that's perfectly fair at this point, given that win over Mississippi State. So I talked to him about why he had LSU at 19, because that seemed a bit high even for me watching. Here's his response. None of the teams ranked below LSU have a single win as good as beating Mississippi State, except for maybe Kansas State, who of course beat Oklahoma this week. However, his logic behind putting Kansas State behind LSU was, well, they lost to Tulane, and that's way uglier than losing to Florida State. And quite frankly, I agree. I think that was very well stated. I applaud Nathan Baird, with no ties to LSU that I'm aware of. I mean, we're talking about an Ohio State writer, for taking such good logic. I think a lot of voters, man, they tend to not look at the actual resume, and that bothers me. I remember it's early in the season, so you can stick a lot of that. Okay, well, I'm projecting that this team will be better. They just haven't had a chance yet. That's acceptable this point in the season, but you really, as more and more resumes gets built, which, by the way, we're 4 games in the season now, it really should be more based on what the teams have actually accomplished and done. I know the AP poll is weird. I think about it as a reporter in the press box covering these LSU games. I look, just in full transparency, I have difficulty keeping up with what other teams are doing throughout the day. It is a crazy Saturday. I mean, you have to head out 2-3 hours before the game, get there in the press box. There's like 5 or 6 TVs around. You pull up your app, you check the scores. You do what you can to keep things interesting, right? To keep, things like keep up with stuff. But it's different. So a lot of times I know these AP reporters, they all cover a specific team, every last one of them, right? I think that sometimes they just don't get the best eye on what's actually going out there. And it's allegedly very difficult. It is truly impossible to watch 25 teams play a full football game every week, much less all the other teams you have to consider. I got Crain, formerly known as J-Boy from the J-Boy Show on the Volume. Of course, he has moved on to Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire network doing Crain & Co. I'm excited to talk to him. He, of course, has an Auburn background, and dog, the planes are burning right now. They are upset. Edward O says, yo, Preston, what's up, Coach O? What's up, man? Thanks for joining the show. Esteban, what's up, PG? What's up, Esteban? Thanks for watching the show, as always. Golden Boot Podcast. Y'all go check them out. There's probably Pooh Bear doing that. What's up, Pooh Bear? How does Brian Kelly keep the team focused with a really bad Auburn team next? All SEC road games are challenging. Kevin, I personally don't think LSU is going to have any problems staying focused for this game against Auburn. I really don't. I think that Auburn is a team in LSU's division, and I think that this LSU team should want to go for blood. I mean, quite frankly, you don't have very many chances where you have a rival team who's down like this and you've got a good team and you can blow them out. Not to mention how much respect you can earn nationally by putting up that scoreboard win. It's like, yeah, Auburn's really bad, but man, LSU's got something going on there. I mean, LSU's got a real chance to turn some perception. I think if LSU takes this win, I think we're talking about LSU being ranked. Now, you know what's no debate is who I rank number one in terms of meat in Baton Rouge. That's Tramonte's who makes this show possible. Remember, they're your tailgating, homegating headquarters, but also it's hunting season. So if y'all are hunters looking to get your game processed, look no further than Tramonte's Meat and Seafood. Remember, 30 kinds of meat and sausage. They got gumbo going now. We got gumbo weather, y'all. Oh, man, y'all. I woke up this morning and chef's kiss. Perfect weather. So hopefully that weather holds up and that Tennessee game at 11 a.m. ain't going to be that cold. Let's hear from Tramonte's. I'm going to get back to it. Jake Crain joins us in just a bit.
Tramonte's has meat. Tramonte's has seafood. Tramonte's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tramontes.com.
And there it is, Tramonte's Meat and Seafood. Y'all go check them out at the corner of Jefferson and Airline, y'all. Let's see here. Hey, Andy from the postgame show. All right, y'all remember, like, Mike asked me what I thought the spread was gonna be for this game. I said 10.5 because I've watched Auburn and I've of course watched what LSU's doing. I don't necessarily, if I'm betting on this game, I wouldn't think it's necessarily close. And I definitely, I just, even on the road, I would say at home, LSU would be 14. So I said 10.5. Guess what? Vegas has them at 9 right now. That's as the last time I checked. So I'm actually like really freaking close on what I thought my spread would be. And for the record, I'm big on LSU this week. I get a little bit of a rap of not being positive tiger enough or whatever. Call me the nega tiger, whatever you want. But dude, this week, I'm taking LSU by 14. I think LSU, secures this win by a full 2 touchdowns. Let's see here. Marcus Freeman. Thanks for watching, Coach, all the way from South Bend there. You always have the best guests. Yes, and I'm excited to bring on Jake. I think Jake's backstage. Jake, are you ready? Come on, man. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. All right, let's bring him on. And here he is. Jake Crain. J-Boy, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, man. Good. I'm glad to get you back on the show. Little more stability in LSU's program than last time I talked to you. Yep. When you had broken the news about the offer to Lincoln Riley and all that good stuff. We can't really say the same about Auburn, though. All right. Would you say that Auburn's program right now is Star Wars sequel bad or season 8 Game of Thrones bad?
Man, those are two good ones. I would say Star Wars sequel bad because it's the second one after the first year of Brian Harsin. And I tend to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm not one of those guys that's like, well, you got to be from down here to be able to, have success coaching down here. Obviously, we've seen it. Coaches come down from all regions of the country and have success, even in a place like the SEC. But, I've watched Auburn for a long time. I've watched Auburn teams that were really good. I've watched Auburn teams that were really bad. I've really never seen what I saw against Penn State in Jordan Hare before. I've never seen Auburn as outclassed, as outcoached, as out-physicaled, as out-prepared, and out-willed as I did against Penn State. And, the personnel's not good. A lot of people had a pretty good idea that was the case, especially on the offensive line. Now you just lost your center for 6 to 8 weeks. You've had to shuffle around and already decimated and really not very talented.
Let's see.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think you muted yourself there. I was like, is it me or is it you?
Yeah,
but anyways, go ahead. Let's rewind about 20 seconds and hit it again.
Yeah, I had an incoming call, so for some reason it kicked me for a second. But no, Auburn's personnel isn't very good, and they haven't made any halftime adjustments. If you look at the last, I think it's since Harsin got to Auburn, the last or every second half, I think the most Auburn scored is 6 points since Brian Harsin's gotten at Auburn, and that's a lack of adjustments, and that's part of the game. Big part.
Yeah, no doubt. And it feels like even more so than what's going on with Brian Harsin as a ball coach and what he does. It seems like lack of administrative support is really a problem in Auburn, and Auburn fans talk ad nauseum about just the fundamental problem structurally, with their coaches and boosters getting a little too involved, that kind of stuff. I don't necessarily understand it, but I hear it. How can a coach who doesn't have that administrative support, doesn't it seem like it's inevitable if he doesn't have that kind of support?
Well, again, you look and the way it went down was not good. It was obviously a blemish on the program nationally. It made big news, whatever. Auburn's problem is this. They will not give full control to a guy. And I think people, they hear that term, they kind of brush it off. They're like, oh, well, that really doesn't mean anything. Yes, it does. Full control. It means that every decision stops with you. It is all on you. The buck stops with you. You're notified of things well in advance of a lot of people. Let's just put it that way. When it comes to every decision that is made that has to do with football, when you look at scheduling, things like that, it's giving full control to be able to bring in all of your people, to maybe have to fire people that have been there for 35 years. So that's something that it seems like the higher-ups at Auburn, whether it be the people with the money that are the boosters in the program or the people that are employees of the university, you obviously want to have full control, but and the backing of your administration. But one way to do that as well is to win. Winning cures everything. And now it's a lot easier to flip a place, especially like Auburn or like an LSU with Brian Kelly coming in with the transfer portal. That's my biggest gripe against this team. It's not that Brian Harsin's been here for 2 years. My gripe against this team is you knew the offensive line was really deficient, yet you did nothing in the transfer portal. The two quarterbacks you brought in to try and lead off your regime with a bang in Auburn was TJ Finley and Zach Calzada. You didn't exactly knock it out of the park when it comes to guys behind center that can do it. So, two things can be true at once. It can be unfortunate what the Auburn administrative, branch and boosters, whatever you want to call it, did to Brian Harsin. And also, Brian Harsin can be in over his head. Both of those things can be true.
Yeah, man. And I definitely agree with you that, just overall, he hadn't been the best there. And, yeah, those two transfer quarterbacks, they both had a lot of problems. Neither one of them really played well at their previous destination. You tend to, if you bring in a quarterback with problems, you tend to like to have excuses for that baggage. I feel like neither one of them really did, except for maybe they're young, I guess, but I still feel like they had a lot of struggles. Man, Auburn's win against Missouri, man. It reminded me of that 2010 when LSU got over Tennessee, where they lost the game, but Tennessee had 13 men on the field, and then LSU just gets another chance. Except for that happened twice for Auburn. You ever seen like a win with that many shenanigans going on? That was wild.
Yeah, I've never seen it go down like that. I've seen teams blow games. I've been a part of it. I was in the business for 9 years. I've seen a lot of crazy things happen. I've seen a lot of crazy things happen at Jordan-Hare. But watching what Missouri did, I mean, Mevis missing that field goal. I mean, even the announcer for Missouri or the broadcaster or whatever said it was good. I mean, the quarterback thought it was good. And then you have a walk-in touchdown, and the ball goes out the back of the end zone when you swap hands. On the show today, I was like, man, I'm smelling conspiracy.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Hartman hires Eli Drinkowitz. I mean, it just those are the ones though that, you know, as a coach and as a player, it's hard to get up the next day after that one. I mean, you legitimately blew it twice, like multiple times, where you should have won the game. No, that everybody got worse watching that game.
Missouri was the better team.
Bad teams. That's just what it was, and one team had to win. And you know, again, I always say there's no such thing as an ugly win or a pretty loss. You either lose or you win, but you know, it's kind of like just delaying the inevitable.
Edward O says, y'all smash the like. Yes, hit that like, hit that share it to your Facebook groups, tweet your Twitter, do all that good stuff. Appreciate you. Rob Boudreaux says he doesn't want to get too political here, but he loved your Braves take. I'm assuming that's your take where you defend the Braves in their name and not cultural appropriation.
Yeah, I mean, my thing's like, just leave us alone. Why do y'all keep doing this? Just leave us alone. Y'all do y'all's thing. Get up there at Capitol Hill. Y'all can, you know, Conjunction Junction. What's your function? Y'all have a great time over there. Don't mess with the Braves mascot, all right? We're about to catch the Mets tonight, so we don't need any distractions. All right, it's hard enough to hit Jacob deGrom. We don't need any distractions. Stop messing with the mascot.
I try not to touch the politics stuff, but I heard Cleveland Guardians on the radio today, and I kind of puked a little in my mouth. Like,
I just think like Chris Pratt and Star-Lord.
Exactly. So, you know, man, I look at this Auburn offense, and I see, you know, they're down to third string quarterback. The kid's great runner, but I don't necessarily see him being able to move the ball on this Matt House defense. Have you gotten to take a look at this Matt House defense?
Yeah. You know,
it's legit.
They're always athletic, and when you look at the Florida State game, it was, you know, unfortunate to see what happened with the celebration injury to Mason Smith, a guy that a lot of people expected a lot out of. Mm-hmm. You know, nowadays it's a whole lot different when you tear your ACL, though. He'll be fine. He'll bounce back. But LSU's fast. They're physical. And it looks to me, because I think the problem where LSU was at defensively the last couple of years wasn't personnel. They're always going to have good players, but they weren't good fundamentally. And they tried to go so simplistic that they couldn't adjust for some reason because they couldn't communicate coverages very well. It seems to me that LSU is back, and Matt House has found a way to have a group of guys that understands that they can get complex when they need to a little bit on third down. It hasn't been anything, you know, groundbreaking or from a coverage-wise, whether it's split coverage, what they're doing a little bit out of two-man and mixing it, stunt the front and things like that. I think he's done a good job of being you know, kind of addition by subtraction a little bit, but it's still complex enough to give you different looks. And that way they're out there playing. They're just reacting. They're not just thinking, they're reacting. It looks a little bit simpler. The D-line has been better against the run for the most part. The game's won and lost up front, Preston. Like it's a very simple formula. I mean, you don't have to be, you know, Matt Damon from Goodwill Hunting to do the math on this one. The team that's going to be able to run the ball is going to win the game. Because if you look at the way LSU's offense is built, Jayden Daniels is really a one, maybe get to the second progression and then take off or try to extend the play, turn it into a scramble drill outside of the pocket on 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3. I think a key for LSU, especially down the road, when they play teams where they're going to have to win maybe in a shootout because that defense is going to get tested, or maybe they have an off day kind of like Clemson had, is will this offense be able to be unpredictable on first down? Will they have the ability to continue to get Jayden Daniels easy throws on big drives? That's why when you see LSU go fast, why does it work better, it seems, when LSU goes fast than it does slow? It's simplified it, and you're getting throws for Jayden Daniels on early downs, and then when he's taking off, it seems like everybody has their back turned because they're sucked into the receiver so much because they're sitting down in zone. So I don't see Auburn being able with the offensive line to run the ball, which isn't going to be able to set up the pass, which is going to put Robbie Ashford in a really bad situation. You got to stop treating Robbie Ashford like a pocket passer. Run the zone read, power read. You got to play to people's strengths. That's where it's
right. Adjust, and that goes to what you were talking about with Harsin, not like great game plan coaching either, because he's not adjusting to his quarterback. By the way, it seems like all his quarterbacks have very different skill sets.
Yeah.
And I remember that like in the Les Miles era, how you're just all over the place with skill sets of quarterback. There was no like rhyme or reason, and that's just really hard to get a real offense to adjust to that. I guess that's why Les Miles just calls, 45 toss dives a game. You don't have to adjust your game to the quarterback if you don't use them.
Yeah, well, to me, Auburn's quarterback room situation.
Oh, you got a call again. All right, yeah. No, I think we lost you. Hey, Jake, I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to do an ad real quick, and hopefully your mic will be turned back on by that. But I'm going to remind y'all of Dead Soxy, the socks that will rock your socks off. They are ready for some football. To celebrate the return of football, our favorite pastimes, Dead Soxy is giving you an opportunity to win a free pair. Visit deadsoxy.com. and fill out the form that pops up on your screen. By signing up, you'll be alerted for new styles and promotions and chance to win some free socks. Remember, guys, promo code TigerBait gets you 25% off, and also any like holiday special they have going on. We know we got Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas coming up. If they have a promo code for that, just use TigerBait. You'll get it anyways, and you're showing your support for this shoe. So now that we've got some great socks out of the way, Jake, I got you back. Man, you are muted, at least to me. I cannot hear you. Nothing, man. Man, Apple, Steve Jobs is coming from the grave to try to sabotage you tonight. Nothing, man. Nothing. And look, if someone in the chat can hear him, let me know. Yeah, he decided to take his phone off. He'll be right back. I'm gonna field a couple comments here. I tried to resurrect him, y'all. I tried my best. Steve Jobs wasn't having it. It is what it is today. Let's see here. He says, tell him how it is on Daniels, Jake. Yeah, Jayden Daniels played very well, y'all. Very well. All right, Jake, do I have you this time?
You hear me now?
All right, thank you. Jake not from State Farm is back.
No, that's why I don't wear khakis anymore. Everybody always said that. But
it's identical.
The situation is my fiance is calling me and doesn't realize I can't answer the call, so I can't respond, or it kicks me. So now I can just see her texting, why aren't you answering my calls, whatever. So I'm just sitting over here.
You had to like hang it up and text, hey, babe, I'm doing the show.
Yeah, like I have to exit out to be able to text, and that's not how I roll. We get on the field. I don't have time to waste the time out. We have 3 of them. I got to use them at the right time.
That's exactly the perfect analogy for what just happened. I'm with you right there. Look, Ed Ogeron. Salt Ali says Ed Ogeron muted you, man. He's coming from the grave to take you down here, man.
Wait, Ed Ogeron's still alive, right?
Yeah, there were some allegations actually that there was a fan who broke into Tiger Stadium this week, right? And the fan, Tiger TV, the student TV on campus, was alleging that he said he was responsible for the 2019 championship at LSU, and that's why he's breaking in. So everybody's, is Ed Ogeron trying to break in? What's going on here?
Look, I wouldn't put it past Ed O to pull out Owen Wilson. Try and get in there and walk around and find the beeping chair. So who knows Ed O? I know he's probably having a great time, whatever he's doing. I mean, he's rich. It's like I said, hey, what time do you need me out of here? Which door do I need to leave out of? That's such a great quote. Dude,
what a Coach O quote, man. And that's the thing. I hope he, doesn't do anything that make LSU fans not want to love him long term. I mean, it's kind of sad thinking about Nick Saban and all he did for LSU, and he did like the one thing you can do to make your fans not love you. Go to your arch nemesis and beat the dog crap out of you for 15 years. So that's been pretty brutal. Jayden Daniels is a controversial topic here in Baton Rouge. I don't necessarily get why. I mean, I do.
Yeah, well, Nussmeier's the only one throwing interceptions. I mean, it's pretty clear cut.
It is definitely clear cut. It's not necessarily controversial whether he should be the starter. That was sunk against Southern when Jayden Daniels goes out there and completes literally everything to everyone, and the Tigers are up 44-0 in the second quarter.
I will say too, the Southern is like playing the little Giants.
No, I get that. But the second part of this is Nussmeier comes in and like throws a pair of interceptions, a pick six, and it looks really ugly against Southern. It's like, oh, okay.
But Jayden Daniels just puts more pressure on the defense because nothing scares you more. Because when the quarterback's able to run, this is my point I was making about Anthony Richardson at Florida too. You're playing with an extra hat. Like defense is, you're truly playing 11 on 11. When you have a quarterback that can't run, you're really playing 11 on 10, and you're creative. So to me, it just puts more pressure on him because Jayden is a good enough thrower to be able to get away with it. That's why I keep saying Robbie Ashford is like diet Jayden Daniels.
Diet Daniels, huh? I dig it. Yeah, he's like non-Jack. He's like Jim Beam and Coke instead of.
He's like the O'Doul's.
Yeah. And then I didn't get too great a look at the Ashford kid. But I mean, I saw he's an athlete, no doubt. But Jayden Daniels is such a superb athlete. It's almost like QB spies don't even work on him. Because he's gonna take that linebacker and one-on-one in the middle of the field. He's just gonna zip on past him. But the fact is, you have to accommodate for Jayden Daniels' ability to run the ball, which makes your coverages more predictable. And he's completed 73% of his passes. I mean, I'm trying to get a gauge here nationally. I mean, you cover all these teams. I mean, do you consider Jayden Daniels one of the top few SEC quarterbacks?
I mean, right now, I think you wouldn't be crazy to put him in the top 5 or 6. You look at Bryce, you look at Will Rogers. I'm not as high on Will Levis as everybody else is. I think Kentucky may be a little bit of fool's gold, but I mean, I don't care how many spies you put on. I don't care if you put James Bond back there. I mean, it's going to be very tough to run this guy down. But the thing where he's the most dangerous is not when he's taking off, especially up through the pocket. Do you notice when Jayden Daniels escapes up through the pocket, those are his biggest runs? Not where he's escaping outside of the pocket. That's where you can really crease the defense. Obviously, because you don't have to be a geometry teacher to know the quickest point between two places is a straight line, and that's when you hit it up through the pocket. But his ability to extend the play outside of the pocket and keep his eyes to the short, to the intermediate, and to the long, that's when you see guys like Malik Neighbors and Butte and those guys hit home runs on plays that weren't designed. They just happened because he broke the pocket and extended the play. Those are the ones as a defensive guy that scare you.
And what makes games like against Auburn, where I consider Auburn, to be the not as good team in this game, I think having a quarterback like Jayden Daniels, one of the things he doesn't take risky throws. That's why he's got 0 picks on the year. Like I saw a bunch of throws against these lesser teams where, okay, the deep seam route is kind of there, but he's like, nah, I'm gonna buy that time and look for that check down. He's not gonna lose you the game, and that's so important. Against games like this one coming up, and really most of the games on your schedule, there's going to be a handful of teams who, like Alabama comes to town, you might want to take some risks against Alabama because Bryce Young is bringing it on the other side. It's I think Jake's Beyonce has started calling him a kid. Here, I'm gonna remove Jake real quick, and I'm gonna wait till like his camera comes back on and stuff. Okay. He's kind of playing with his phone here. I think we might have him. Jake, are we good?
Yeah, man. My phone's just getting blown up.
Man, you got that Cricket Wireless out there, huh? What are they doing to you? Oh man, we lost his audio again. Let's see. Hold up. I'm gonna take him off real quick. Let him call his fiance. It's all good. We love you. We love Miss Crain to be. Let him take care of that. I'm gonna take a few questions here. Sorry, we're having a little bit of issues, y'all, but hey, it's live shows. Things happen. Let's see here. Keep killing it, Preston. Hey, Robert, I appreciate you, man. Great comment. I appreciate you supporting the show, and y'all keep killing it by coming into this show, supporting me. Hit that like, hit that share. Spread the love, y'all. I put a lot of work into making this a fun show, a little different. I might not be as high energy as some guys, but we try to have some fun here. Let's see here. The media not even asking Harfenter's questions at Auburn is crazy. I listened to that whole press conference for nothing. LOL. J boy, are they taking?
We're good now. I got it handled. The fire's been put out, and I was actually right for one time. But I saw that guy said the Auburn media is not asking him tough questions. Yeah, right. That's the Auburn media. They're not going to ask him tough questions. I asked him about the show.
They're like the White House media is what you're saying.
Oh, it's 100%.
I'm just all right, y'all. I'm not gonna touch in politics. I'm just doing it because I got the Ben Shapiro guy here, man. What's it like working for Ben?
Oh man, he's cool as hell. Just normal. I mean, he's come on the show and he's a big sports fan, big White Sox fan, and we talk a lot of baseball with him. But no, he's just a cool cat.
So, have you gotten him on college football yet?
It's kind of tough with his faith on the weekend, the way it kind of operates. But I'm working on some ideas. We're workshopping a lot of things. May start out a little bit of action because it's played on Wednesdays and Tuesdays in November. So we're workshopping. We got in a think tank. We're workshopping some things. So we'll see how it turns out. Right.
It seems like that's a really like relevant crossover audience for him, just demographically speaking, in the type of content he produces. I'm sure a lot of his folks come from the deep South and also happen to be big time college football fans. So it just seems like it'd be a natural transition there, but maybe you can get inside the yarmulke for him and put some college football love on him. So a lot of fans are talking about Harold Perkins here. Have you gotten to see that kid play at all?
Yeah,
linebacker.
No, Harold has a chance to be special. The thing that to me separates young guys when they get up to this level, because there's a lot of guys that are really athletic. There's a lot of guys that are big and strong, and the way training is now for kids coming up, to middle school to high school, you're seeing some advanced looking guys earlier and earlier. But when the game looks slow for a young guy. And they're seeing things and they're reacting, and there's not a lot of bad things fundamentally. Like with Perkins, you don't see a lot of false steps. You see good angles. You see a guy that understands the game of football. That's the difference. Once you get to a high enough level, what separates you in the NFL outside of the few aliens there are with the Tyreek Hills and Lamar Jacksons and guys like that? What separates you? It's unbelievable physical talent, but high football IQ. Understanding the game, understanding the nuances of not only how to prepare for the game, but how to play in the game and the things that you have to do, because the margin for error is so small. So that is the biggest compliment I can give a guy like Harold Perkins. It looks like the game makes sense to him, like he speaks the language already in a game that should be too fast for him right now, but it's not.
Right. What's interesting about bringing up Harold Perkins, so Brian Kelly talked about getting him in. He started his first game this week. And how they had to adjust the scheme for him, actually, which you couldn't tell necessarily by his play, but they actually have it simplified because he's a true freshman so that he can do his plays and execute and play full speed rather than have him go out there and having to think, which is not what you want on defense. You don't want players thinking. You want players reacting. And more so than thinking to myself that's crazy that he's literally out there on the simplified playbook, like the Blue's Clues notebook playbook, but it's also surreal to me because I've been either a fan or a reporter for LSU's football team for 20 years. And outside of a couple years with Saban, I've never seen the head football coach be involved with the scheme and the X's and O's and all that, all that good stuff. He's making more adjustments and understanding what's going on. And it's just surreal to me that a head football coach could actually do that. So this summer, you started your Twitter war with Brian Driscoll about the Notre Dame guy. You said LSU would win a national.
I didn't start the war between Notre Dame and LSU. I just ended the ceasefire. That's what everybody says.
Yeah, that is actually kind of true. It is, but it got heavy there. So, but you followed up with saying you think LSU wins national championship with Brian Kelly at some point. You still, after seeing a few games in, are you still feeling pretty confident with Brian Kelly at LSU?
Yeah, I mean, I got no reason not to.
Right.
It's funny, you talk about teams adjusting and teams learning. If you really look at it, LSU beat Mississippi State the way Florida State beat LSU. Most teams lose games, they don't win them. And if you heard, that clip that came out of Brian Kelly talking to the team, talking about how the margin for error is so small that every mistake at this level and in this league and in these arenas are magnified by 1,000 and can be the difference in the game. Those 3 to 5, handful of plays that separate the game. So I think you're seeing growth from LSU. I think Brian Kelly is understanding the situation. Now, down the road, will Brian Kelly have to be as involved in the scheme and things like that? No, I think he just is smart enough to know every situation is a little bit different. Every circumstance is a little bit different. And there's a time where you have to kind of dip your hand in a little bit deeper than others.
Agree with you there, man. I think Brian Kelly is going to have more access to a talent that he's never had, and if he can if he can keep these teams playing to their talent level, just be an average coach, I think that's going to go pretty far, and I think he's certainly an above average coach. So, I mean, I'm not even really setting the bar that high. I just the hope is he can be consistent long term. Edward O, ask Jake. All right, Coy Moore. That's the LSU transfer who a lot of people were sad. I saw him. Yeah, he caught a pass this weekend against Auburn. Any thoughts on Coy Moore there, or what's up the receiver position on the Plains?
Yeah, I mean, when you looked at personnel groups before the year, wide receiver position was a concern. Even though the young guys, Chick Dawson and Camden Brown, I think have a chance to be pretty good players. This tight end room that we heard about outside of Shanker, nobody's really doing anything. You got a ton of experience there, but nobody's really broken out. But again, when you don't have a good offensive line, I don't care what scheme you run. There's no trick with having a bad offensive line. It doesn't matter if you go 5 wide every play and spread it out, or if you're an air raid team, or if you're running the triple option or the wing T or the veer. If the offensive line isn't good, it's not going to matter. Coy Moore really hadn't done a lot there. Shedrick Jackson's an older guy that's done a little bit, but nobody's really taken that thing in, and Auburn really hasn't had a chance to have good enough balls being delivered from the quarterback position, or the quarterback having enough time to be able to throw off a decent launch point, or at least resemble somewhat what you see in practice and 7-on-7. They haven't been able to get in any rhythm. And when you don't have rhythm, you can't make music. Can't make music, can't score points.
Well said. Absolutely, man. You got to get the ball to those guys somehow, some way, even if, you throw in the walk-on quarterback, not too far away from that. Jake, am I going to be responsible for Mrs. Crain, or future Mrs. Crain, I should say, being, all over you as soon as you hop off here?
No, I'm always responsible, but in this is one of the
accountability, like a ball coach.
Yeah, like one of the few cases though where I'm actually right. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. Honestly, I'm going to embrace it. Yeah. I do know I reminded her of it, so it's like those commercials where you can challenge it if you want. But no, man, I appreciate you having me on.
No, man. Well, look, I got a 5-year wife. She's 9 months pregnant in the other room. I'm gonna tell you this: the thing is about being right is you're still wrong.
That's again, that's my journey right now. That's my journey, and I'm learning. I appreciate the insight though. You're kind of like my Sam Wise. Just hopefully you don't turn out to be Boromir.
Yeah, man. Look, last question of the night. Auburn loses this ball game. Okay, let's just assume that. Does Brian Harsin have a job on Monday?
The dilemma where it is right now is Auburn didn't have an AD. So I think you're going to have to get an AD before you get a head coach hired. So I wouldn't be shocked if they fired him during the season, because my thing is like, listen, if you're going to fire him and hire a new coach anyway, when you bring in a new AD, you might as well fire the guy and let the interim do his thing. So I can see it both ways. Depends on how bad it is. If it's really bad, like Penn State bad, then yeah, I think he's fired on that day. If it's like a game that, something crazy happens or it's tied all the way through, I don't know. It could get strung out until Georgia till they got to call the people from the first 48 to, find out what Georgia did to us. Because that's in Athens, so that should be fun. But I don't think he makes it to the season personally.
No, I don't, and I think LSU covers the 9 points, and I think I personally.
Things happen in Jordan Hare though, man. Like
I get it. Jordan Hare. The only reason I wouldn't think that happens is if that hurricane just makes it weird, and things do get weird in Jordan Hare. There's no doubt. I see teams where the wheels are just falling off. I've been watching them for the last 2 years here in Baton Rouge. Unless something weird goes on, like, I think of Cole Taylor throwing his shoe against Florida. That was a weird game. Okay. I do have a confidence that LSU would take care of business, cover that spread, and we'll see about Brian Harsin. I tend to take, what is it, Scott Strickland at Florida, who always says if it's inevitable, it must happen immediately. So that's my approach. But again, you mentioned about the AD and all that good stuff. All right, you got a new-ish show, new from the last time I talked to you for sure. I think about 6 months ago you started it. Tell the good folks where they can keep up with your work.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you having me on again. Yeah, just go to YouTube, type in Crain and Company, CRAIN and Company. You'll find us right there. We go live every morning, weekday morning, 7:30 to 9 Eastern, and talking a lot of LSU and Auburn, and gonna see what happens. Take the under. That's the way I feel about it. But I appreciate it, Preston.
I appreciate you, Jake. Have a great night.
You too, brother.
That was Jake Crain of Crain and Company fighting off the fiance to make the show possible tonight. I got a few good comments. Great. I appreciate y'all engaging. It makes the show go a lot easier. I love engaging with LSU fans on the show. I try my best to get to all y'all. Ask any questions you got, man. We'll do it rapid fire. I got about 15 minutes left in the show. We're going to hear from celebrity theaters real quick because they pay my bills. That's how we make this possible. But anyways, celebrity theaters located in Baton Rouge, Broussard, and Ruston. They are Louisiana's only locally owned, no corporate ownership. They're locally owned. Shane Morrison, he lives in Prairieville. Great guy. He hired me 10 years ago when I was working at, as a bartender. And that's how I met my wife, y'all. Fun story behind that. But anyways, they are the only locally owned. That means you're guaranteed a clean facility, better pricing, all that good stuff. I love their bar they have there. I don't go to a theater unless they have the leather reclining seating, and that's exactly what they bring to the table. They are hosting an LSU watch party for every game. So if you're not making the trip to the Plains, guys, can you think of a better watch environment than, a literal theater with their Dolby Atmos sound? It's unreal. They got drink specials, $10 nachos and soda. They're, of course, they do little specials every single week. They kind of, wait till game day to announce that. But they're going to have all sorts of good stuff. Y'all go check them out. They got daiquiri machines. They got cold beer. So anything you like to enjoy your game. Maybe you just want a bucket of popcorn and watch the Tigers. That's a new way to do it, y'all. People do watch parties at bars, at restaurants, all that good stuff. Why not just go to the movie theater, man? Look, go check it out. Celebrity Theaters this Saturday. Go watch LSU whoop on the Auburn Tigers. And I mean it this time because I'm predicting a whooping. I think LSU wins by 14 points. Let me get to y'all's comments here. Let's see here. Edward O thinks Jake Crane's kind of sleeping on LSU. I think a little bit. I think he's a little cautious there. But he thinks LSU wins the game, but he just recognizes that Jordan Hare is a weird place, and this is a weird series, and weird things happen, and he's not wrong at all. Josh Forbes, thanks for following the show again, Josh. Josh is one of my weekly listeners here. Another big test for this team weekend in Auburn. How will they react in front of a hostile crowd? I think this is a chance to make a good statement about your team. Can you separate yourselves from the non-competitors? I don't necessarily think LSU is gonna be like a 10-win team, like just losing to Bama. I think they're gonna drop somewhere else, but they could be a 9-8 win team. I mean, I really like the improvements this coaching staff is doing. This win against New Mexico was a lot more impressive, in my opinion, than a lot of people are going to have seeing 38-0 just because you outgained them by 545 yards. That's hard to do. They didn't turn the ball over. You pushed punts on every drive except for the drive they went into halftime on. That's hard to do, y'all. You had long fields to work with, and you still controlled the game. Your starting quarterback got hurt, and you still went out there and won. So I got to ask O's question here. Basically, will they let Harsin go? It's hard to say, man, but I can't imagine they don't. Hendon Hooker about to buddy the crap out of y'all. Seth, we keep it clean here so the children can watch. Man, I don't know. We'll see. I don't like that matchup at all. Not necessarily because what we're seeing on the field, right? But it's 11 a.m. The coon ass is here. We ain't have no time to get our bourbon rolling, spike our coffees. Look, man, we do better with Jack and Coke rather than what is it, Bailey's and coffee here, right? So the fans, it's going. Maybe the weather gives us a break, right? But it's just not the same as Death Valley at night. Period. It is not the same. No way you slice it or dice it. Tennessee has a bye. Sorry, guys. LSU will be going to the Plains and playing an SEC game. I don't like anything about that. I do not like it. It stinks. I just, oof. It's rough. Marcus Freeman, congrats. Josh Forbes, congrats on the pregnancy. Thank y'all. Baby's first game will be Bama. Can't wait for that. We're excited. I'm probably going to have to take a couple weeks off of the show. I've got someone lined up to do the show for me for a couple weeks. I think y'all will like him. He's been on the show before. You have liked him in the past. So I appreciate that. Edward O says, I appreciate you asking all my questions. Edward O, I appreciate you for watching and asking those questions. Let's see here. At Preston from The Thrill. Do you think our defense is going to play against Auburn? Oh, how? Well, yeah, I think I legitimately, I'm trying to think, what was my score I wrote down earlier? I think it's something like 24-10, y'all. I mean, really, I think defense plays well. This Matt House defense has been lights freaking out. Lost your best player? Who cares? You got plenty more. Mason Smith out. Lots of guys been out. BJ Ojulari's missed 2 games. They're doing a great job. Rotating guys in and out. They're doing a great job. I like a lot of things going on with this Matt House defense. Ask Preston how you feeling about Butte going into this week, who leads LSU in receiving Saturday. I don't know who's going to lead LSU in receiving Saturday. I honestly don't, because Jayden Daniels distributes the ball pretty evenly. It's like one big long catch. If you get that yak, and you break it open, you bust open. I mean, you could be the leading receiver on one catch. Is that Jack Besh? I don't know. Does Jack Besh even play with Butte back? I think Jack Besh will get some snaps, but do I think Jack Besh will be on the field more than 50% of the time? I don't know. Is it Brian Thomas again? We saw him last week. Guys, there's just so many receivers. It's like roll your dice. This reminds me of the old Sean Payton offenses with Drew Brees. Like, think like early 2010s when you just had so many of these receivers. And it's like, Lance Moore? I don't know. There's just so many of them who are capable of it. That's what I'd liken this receiving core to LSU at right now. So, yeah, I just, man, I don't know. I mean, it should be Butte, but it hadn't been Butte. I think Butte is he's going to be fine. He just needs to be on the field, keep on doing his thing, and show some focus. I don't want to necessarily harp on him, but I would have liked to see him with a baby born on Thursday play the game Saturday. But, every parent is different. Every father, I'm not going to bemoan him for wanting to be a better father and be with his kids. But I do think that for the optics of it, it would have been good for him to show up and dress out and play that game. Let's see here. Yeah, Josh Forbes, thoughts on Tennessee game? I don't like it. It stinks. It's got bad juju. They got stanky feet. I don't like nothing about that game, man. Hendon Hooker looks really good, and the Tennessee's all sitting there resting up. Will the receiver who got hurt be back? I don't know. Don't know. I don't know. I don't like it. It stinks. I think LSU is about almost as good a team as Tennessee. I just think that the whole scenario of it, could be emotionally, who knows? Who knows, man? Because coming off a big win at Auburn, that might be an emotional high. And then you're playing at home at Tiger Stadium. It's going to be about 8 billion degrees. Fans don't like having to put on sunscreen to go to a freaking football game here, but that's where we're at. I don't like it. Butte Neighbors is the dude. That could be another receiver who's your leading receiver. Guys, I'm telling you, whoever your leading receiver is, Daniels doesn't like to go deep very often, and the system isn't designed to go deep. I think about a lot of these seam routes where it's basically designed to draw the linebacker up into the safety to where you can hit underneath with a dig, a curl, something, maybe a little out route, a bubble. But it's about who catches that ball and gets that big long yak. That's going to be your leading receiver. And if you don't get a guy doing that, it's going to be a bunch of dink and dunks. Then it becomes whoever catches the ball more. Let's see here. Auburn could score late and bust the thread. Yeah, that's always a threat. That's all. I mean, look, if LSU's up 24-10 and Auburn just runs down the field and puts a touchdown on for, just to make the scoreboard look better, I don't care. I don't care, whatever. That's why I'm not actually putting money down on this. Got a few more comments in here. Hit me up with your comment. I'm going to run one more push for Tramonte's Meat and Seafood, y'all. Make sure to go check them out, y'all. They're on the corner of Jefferson and Airline. They are your tailgating and homegating headquarters for the 2022 season. They do meat cleaning for your game processing. If you hunt deer or whatever it may be, I don't do any of that, but perhaps you do. They're located at the corner of Airline and Jefferson. Let's play that roll.
Tramonte's has meat. Tramonte's has seafood. Tramonte's has much more. Tailgating and homegating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tramontes.com.
Store pick bourbons currently Blue Note, Wofford Reserve, and Sazerac. Y'all make sure to go check them out. And don't forget their daily lunch specials. Their deli is second to none, y'all. Real talk. Let's see here. Man, a lot of Butte chalk out there. A lot of Butte chatter. Tennessee coming off a bye as well. Tennessee will be coming off a bye. LSU will not. Let's see here. Brian Thomas is emerging. He always makes the first guy miss. That's the thing about that 6'5" frame, man. He's a hoss. He's an absolute hoss. Let's see here. Look, guys, I hadn't even talked about Jayden Jenkins. Jayden Jenkins is the guy, I always forget Jayden Jenkins. There's so many of them. That's why it's hard to predict which one is going to be the guy. It's hard to tell, man. It's hard to tell. He's got ice in his veins, though. That's for sure. Definitely agree with you there. Hopefully we can pull it off with the early Tennessee kickoff against Tennessee. Guys, I'm not predicting that. I think the offense needs to be more consistently clicking at the beginning of games. You got to continue rolling with Jayden Daniels doing his thing. He's completing 73% of his passes, but that offense has gotten to a slow start against legitimate competition. Now, it's looked great against New Mexico. It looked great against Southern, but you had slow starts against both, and you can't really afford that. Offensive line also has to look better against elite competition, and they are greatly improving. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'll see how they look against Auburn. If if they blow them out by more than 14, I might change my mind. But we'll see. Another thing is, Besh just coming off that injury. We don't know how much action he's gonna get with Keyshawn Boutte back. We just don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see. Oh, and Joe Fouche's back this week. How good is Joe Fouche after missing 4 games? we'll just have to see. I think the defense will do its thing. I think LSU take LSU by 14, guys. That's my guess for this week. I'm very confident about this LSU team. I think LSU is heading in a good direction, and watch for next week to be a top 25 football team. I talked to Nathan Baird. Remember, y'all can go back and watch the replay of this show with my Nathan Baird comment about how he says he's an Ohio State reporter saying LSU's 19, and he had some good logic. Tend to agree with him. I hope if LSU gets a win, they should be bumped up. So we're talking about, a top 25 matchup in Tiger Stadium. Get ready, y'all. It's going to be fun. Thank y'all for watching your LSU Football Fix tonight, guys. Remember, you can always check out our YouTube channel. Hit that bell to get subscribed for all of our content. You can hit for just live notifications, or you can hit for all of our videos. We have interviews, player interviews, coach interviews, all that good stuff on our channel. Go check out the page, y'all. LSU had a massive recruiting weekend with 2 5-star quarterbacks on campus. Of course, they got to see your quarterbacks go 33 of 39 for 414 yards against New Mexico. Both were very impressed. We talked to both of them. We got 2 interviews with these guys on the TigerBait channel. I've got a great story I wrote for Sterling Dixon, the defensive end out of Mobile, Alabama. He gave a great interview to me, y'all. Sharp kid, hard not to like this kid. That'll be on the site soon for all TigerBait subscribers. Make sure you go check it out. Hit the $99 option for the year. It'll keep your wife happy because it only comes on your credit card statement once a year. So appreciate you for tuning in the show. Y'all make sure to come check us out next week. Night, y'all.